All right, Algebra 2 class. Mr. Martin here, back from the virtual classroom, from my kids' playroom at home. So we're gonna kind of continue on with taking graphs of parabolas and transferring them into equations, either in factored form or vertex form. We've been over both factored form and vertex form of the parabola. Now what I want to do is I want to go over when to use which one. Okay, so I've given you a lot of information over the past couple weeks about working with parabolas. Now we're going to take a look and we're going to try to decide when to use. If we have a parabola and we're given certain information, do we put it into factored form or do we put the equation into vertex form? Quick things, tomorrow, or first make sure that you comment on the post, either in Canvas or or on YouTube, or send me an email. Let me know how it's going. Let me know if you're understanding all this, and so I can just kind of mark you as that you've been doing this. And then tomorrow's worksheet stuff. Take a look at the worksheet stuff. Do it. Spend a half an hour on it. If you have questions, email me. Let me know. Thursday's catch-up day. Fridays are social emotional day. Okay, so let's take a look. Learning objective up here. Students will be able to choose between vertex and factored form to convert from graph to an equation. We're talking about parabolas, as we've been talking about for some time now. Now, factored form I put over here. We have y equals a, which is our stretch or compression factor, times x minus r1 times x minus r2. R1 and R2 stand for root 1 and root 2. Okay, root 1, root 2, that's where the x value, that's where the parabola crosses the x axis. Okay, so this would be root 1, root 2, R1, R2. Okay, and if we have a graph that looks something like this, okay, and we can see clearly where it crosses the x-axis, that is when we want to use factored form. That's when we want to try to put it into factored form because we're given the roots and we can place it right into that. Here, I have my parabola, okay, vertex form. Here, well, let's go over what vertex form is. Vertex form is y equals a x minus h squared plus k, where you have your h and your k are your vertex of the parabola, or the top point, your maximum point, or your minimum point. Okay. If you are given a vertex on a graph, then you know to use vertex form. Okay, that tells you pretty much right off the bat. Use your vertex form. Use that form to put it into equation, because it makes it that's the easiest way to kind of shift around and get into that. All right, let's take a look at what it looks like when we do some problems out. So the first problem I have here is, I'll put the graph right in the middle here, and we can choose either left or right, factored form or vertex form. Okay, the first graph we have here of the parabola, we can see there, it's going through 2 points here on the x-axis, and there's another point up here at 2, 9. All right, so I take a look at this and I say, all right, do we know the vertex? We don't know the vertex, but what we do know is we know that this point goes through positive 1 and negative 1 on the x-axis. So positive 1 and negative 1 are my two roots. So I'm going to go ahead and plug those numbers right in over here. So we're going to go R1 is going to be 1 and R2 is going to be negative 1. I don't know what my a is going to be. That's the one value that I need to find. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set up, and then I have one more point, 2, 9. And that's my x and my y. I'm going to set up an equation by plugging in my 2 and my 9 and my 1 and my -1 into this equation. Anywhere I see an x, I plug in a 2. Anywhere I see a y, I plug in a 9. And then R1 is 1 and then R2 is -1. So let's look at this. Oops. So y, as I mentioned before, is 9 equals a, I don't know my a, times x minus R2. X is 2 minus what's my, or R1 is 1 times x again minus my R2, which is -1, and negative makes a positive, or 2 plus 1. Okay, so now I go ahead and I use my skills of solving algebraic equations to finish this off and solve for a. So I have 9 equals a times 2 minus 1 is just 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 times 1 is just 3. 9 is equal to 3a. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. 3 is equal to a. All right, great. I know what my a value is. I have my root 1, root 2. Now I'm just going to finish it off by putting that there so I know what the equation looks like. So right here, I replace a with 3, and I replace R1 with 1 and R2 with -1. So y equals 3 times x minus R1 is 1 times x minus R2 is -1, so we're just going to make that a positive 1 now. And that's my equation of this parabola in factored form. Y equals 3 times x minus 1 times x plus 1. All right. And we'll erase. And we'll do one more now. Okay. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3. And then -3, -5. -3, 3. -4, -3, -3, -5. Okay, now I have this parabola over here. We can see what we're given right off the bat is we're given the vertex. The top point here, that's my vertex. Therefore, I'm going to take a look and I'm going to use that vertex form. Because I am given the vertex, it makes it easy to put it in. All right. So let's label what the vertex is. Okay. -4, -3 is my vertex. And then I don't know what my a value is. That's the value I want to find out. And then my other point, -3, -5. -3, -5 is my x and y point. So with this being my vertex, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put -4 in for the h value, and I'm going to put -3 in for the k. And then I'm going to put -3 in for my x value, and -5 for my y. And I'm going to solve for a. So y, as I said, -5 equals a, I do not know, so I'm just going to keep that as an a, x, -3, minus h, which is also a -3, so minus a negative we're adding, plus 3, squared, minus k, which is, what did I do here? Sorry, that's a 4. So plus, so minus minus 4, which is plus 4, and then minus k minus 3. There we go. Now, let's solve for a. To solve for a, first thing I want to do, what's in the parentheses. Negative 3 plus 4 is a positive 1, squared is 1. So we got negative 5 equals 1a minus 3. I'm going to add 3, add 3. I'm ending up with 2 is equal, or sorry, negative 2 is equal to a. All right? When I know that negative 2 is equal to a, as I said before, it's equal to negative 2. So now I want to take this number and then my my vertex, plug it into the equation, so I have my equation of this specific parabola. Y is equal to a, negative 2, x minus h, or plus 4, square root minus 3. Not square root, squared minus 3. So that's my equation in vertex form. All right, so what I want you guys to do tomorrow, take a look at this, okay? I have a couple problems on a worksheet. Take a look at the problems. Decide whether you're going to use factored form or if you're going to use vertex form, and then take your time and work through them. If you're having trouble, let me know. Shoot me an email. I'll be more than happy to help you. Meet with you on either Google Hangout, Zoom. Okay, we can do some face-to-face stuff. If you're having issues getting the content, seeing the content, whatever, let me know what I can do differently to support you. Okay? I hope you have a nice one, and I will see you soon.